You don't do anything, it's happening. Like I said, one day there was no osteopathy and then there's osteopathy. So where did he get it from? Because he was animated by an intent. The basic story of Andrew Taylor Still is as such. He was at a time where medicine was the same as today, poison and killing people. Then he witnessed some kind of so-called epidemic or disease take hold of his people, witness his wife and children die, and he says, I'm helpless, I'm a so-called doctor, I cannot help people. So clear that's the setup for, I need to figure something out. And it's in particular context, a specific time where, and here he is, he's like, okay, I'm going to put my mind to it. Of course, this is a believer in God and a person who lives in nature, there's connected to nature, so there's a whole ethos to his approach. And where is it coming from? This is called being inspired. He's being inspired. But what is inspiring him? Let's say for sure it's a mind, it's a principality, it's a power. Call it by the name you want. And if we want to use our X-ray eyes to see what it is another kind of conversation. But from our perspective here on the land of the cows, he's receiving data. No different than, well, it could be, what I say could be very insulting for people, but it's no different than any so-called prophet. It's just a different level. There are small revelations, bigger revelations, supreme revelations, revelations that are like side pocket revelations, and it's revelations that are non-inclusive, supreme inclusive, right? There's all kinds of bandwidth of possibilities, just like in music. Some are coming from demonic forces, some are coming from so-called angelic forces, some are coming from way beyond, and all of this is in a way organized. And it's hard to see the organization, and you can receive revelation from the organizational mind itself. There's a lot happening. And remember, every human being is in a way, conductor and a radio receiver. And as human beings, this is what's hard for people to understand, but this was understood before. If you take the Jews, for example, they're very clear in a way. There's a spirit, whatever they call their God, and we, the Jews, are the cells of that spirit. When you look at especially Orthodox Jews, they look like one thing. They don't look like individuals. There's no individuation. There may be a form of individuation, but it's minimal. There is no, it's we, the Jews. And we are conduits for that spirit. Let's call it Yahweh or whatever they want to call it. Right? So it's not, so this is basic. This is understandable. When you look at African tribes, they all look the same also. And yet they're under the jurisdiction of a certain deity, obviously. And there's always a shaman, medicine man, that means the central pillar of the community who has a conscious connection with that deity or that spirit and speaks in his name to the people who, if I'm a farmer, it's not that I don't have the time, I cannot come in tune with that spirit, but I'm literally plowing the land. I don't have time to have my head in the sky because I'm concerned with seeds, earth, quality of earth, water, creating channels of water. I'm like, I have my hands in the dirt. What am I going to be like? How am I going to dig a hole if I'm here? Right? You won't even understand what it is to take a fork or what do you call that? A shovel. It's like, what's a shovel? I don't understand. I'm not here. Right? So it always be organized like that. And the shamanic, the person in the shamanic power, or priest, not a priest like a Jesus priest, Catholicism priest, but in a way that also works. But it's unfortunately has a bad reputation. But the person in that position is in communion, or should be, or spends his life to be in communion with the spirit that guides or runs or is at the essence of their group. And then that so-called priest or shaman or whatever you want then helps transmit the knowledge, the demands, the requests, what needs to be done in order for us to quote-unquote survive and function and go and evolve in our process of manifesting that spirit. See what I'm trying to say? And around that priest is going to be the next ring of priests who are going to be like one step more practical. Who are going to codify that information so that we can have records. Or if it's not records, it's going to be through enactments or through songs or in a way of recitation, okay? So that this can be transmitted. And then there's going to be the next level that's going to, in a way, simplify it so that we can give it to the common person. So let's say we give you a song. So I'm going to give you a song. So while you're plowing the field, you repeat the song, but you're not really repeating the song. You're accessing medicine, the medicine of that spirit through the song. But that song now is enlivening you. It's tuning you to the intent of the deity while you're working. So you're not really working, you're doing prayer. You're tuning yourself to that deity. The deity is doing the work through you. It's inspiring you, moving you, giving you strength, courage, determination, fortitude, resilience, etc. While you're repeating the song, it's tuning you to the medicine, which came from the medicine to the songwriter, which is connected to, let's say, I'm, simplifying, not really, but I'm just, it's an example, to the priest who himself is in communion with that spirit. And then now, depending on the needs of the tribe, so it's going to create branches. Now we need but somebody who develops medicine and somebody that develops technology. Well, medicine is one thing, technology is another thing, right? So how do we ground that spirit? How does it express itself technologically so that we can facilitate the lives of the cells of that organism? And now how does that organism as a whole live or survive in time? Maybe it will live only for a couple of minutes, days, months, years, 10 years, 100 years, then it dies. Just like animals get extinct. Maybe it will grow and expand and expand and expand and expand so big that eventually it comes in conflict with another organism that says, hey, it's like, well, let's see who's stronger. We are, let's see. Then they battle it out. And of course, who's going to teach you how to battle? That spirit. And it's going to be technically that spirit facing off that spirit. And then one will win. So that spirit will eat that one and incorporate that spirit into itself. Or it could just obliterate it completely depending on the style of that spirit. So what was the question? I don't remember, but we're still in the same conversation of understanding how powers ground themselves, how power establish themselves. And this process is systematic. This is not new. It's never been new. It's how it's working. It's how it's working today in your technologies, in your telephone. Who invented a telephone? How did a monkey understand how to make a cell phone? Not that I believe that human beings are descended from monkeys, but clearly we're close to monkeys. We're not very intelligent. So how did a human being get access to that data? Clearly not through his own intelligence. Something had to inspire him. That's what I'm trying to say. So obviously, when there's a new bandwidth that wants to express itself, like I gave the example of rock and roll. Well, there was guitar, so I know how to use guitar. But guitar and rock and roll isn't the same. I have to innovate. So I can use the guitar as a basic. It's a principle. But it's not going to do it for what I'm doing. It's not going to express the vibration I'm serving. So this is always happening. And in my case, it's also happening. It's like, well, whatever I'm representing or I'm beginning to represent, it wants to express itself. And those methods or methodologies or principles or techniques are not capable of unlocking at the level that I'm being requested to unlock. So I'll understand the principles and I'm going to have to now dive inside at a deeper level to find the answers and to find that unlocking.